That's what
This meeting started, our only meeting here in April. So would you please join me for the flag salute? You remember who the next person was? Are we starting on that side again? Okay, I'll do it. Join you in the flag salute. 1, 2, 3.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary, may we please have roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Silva,
Present.
Councilmember Stefan,
Present.
Councilmember Roy Murphy,
Present.
Councilmember Mario Rosa.
Present.
And Mayor Jose Rios.
Present. First on the agenda is a presentation to Izzy Pacheco. Izzy, would you join me? Is she here?
Yes.
Okay, great.
He's red.
Mary, would you do me the honor? Hey.
So the certificate of recognition is being presented to Izzy Pacheco. She is from the Salinas Valley Racing Club. And she's a sixth grader, Fairview Middle School. On behalf of the City Council of the City of Gonzales, I would like to express our congratulations and recognition for obtaining the California Folk Style Wrestling 12 Under state title. We're very proud of your accomplishment and dedication, which has set a high standard of excellence for your school, family, and community. Once again, congratulations on a job well done. This is presented this 20th day of April by Mayor Jose Rios.
Awesome.
Gonzales so all our city, you're an inspiration. Anything you'd like to say? Did you have a hard time with the match? Go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to say thank you to all my coaches.
Yes, indeed.
That's nice.
Thank you, coaches.
Can I ask a little here? Would you be so kind to join us up at the podium here so we can take a picture together with you and the council?
Yeah.
I'll follow you so that I don't trip and fall.
Yeah.
A big crowd.
Stand right there. You come very comfortable when we're getting ready for a picture.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
Wow. Wow. It's all on the map.
Yeah, good wrestlers.
Always do.
It's awesome.
But it's nice to see a girl.
Great job, Izzy.
Thanks a lot.
And I don't know if you guys recall, but in 1976, we had quite a wrestling program. And I remember the MTAO matches were at the gymnasium here in Gonzales. And maybe you do remember this, Liz. They would black out all the lights and they would put just one big light in the center.
Oh, wow.
That's where the match would come. And the Gonzales wrestlers would come out with these black capes and satin capes and orange on the inside, and they'd come out like this, you know, wow. I mean, that was a show by itself. And then, of course, yeah, I'll tell you what, that was, I tell my
Those were
kids,
the
I
days.
still have goosebumps remembering watching that team come in, and I mean, they cleaned up. I think there was like two guys that took second. Other than that, everybody was first, so.
Those were the days.
Those were the days, Mr. Vandrow. Okay, moving on. Comments from the public. Any member of the public wishing to address the council may do so at this time. You may address the council over a period of 2 minutes. The council will listen to all communication, but will take no action and make no comments.
Hi, Henry Martinez, 112 10th Street. Oh, boy. My court case, they can't try it because the officers, all 20 of them, are violation of unbecoming an officer because they're refusing to do their duties. And there's a legal word for it, I can't remember it, that if I get tried and they don't do their job, it turns around and goes towards them. Officer Perez, or that's Officer Perez? Yeah, Officer Perez and Ferrero were at the scene of my attack. The witness jumped in between the mom and dad and told Ferrero and Perez that Mr. Martinez got hit twice. It's on video camera. Even the DA knows that I got hit, and he laughs at me. Then he figured out when I told him he's unbecoming a DA, because he was laughing at me because the officers hit me. And he said, oh, I'm sorry. So he knows the rule about these cops not doing their jobs. They charged us, Perez, Ferrero, the sergeants, all charged us with different crimes. So I can drop my assault charges against the Sergeant Mendoza. So I'm here to say these cops, including the chief, are derelict of their duties and unbecoming officers. I'm giving you guys a heads up what they're doing wrong. And they should do their jobs because Officer Perez and Ferrero were told that I got hit. And I'm screaming at the day of that 4th of July, I'm screaming I got hit twice and I wanted him citizen arrest. They should have gotten that other officer, put him in handcuffs, and let the courts figure out if I'm right or wrong. They went after my witness, too.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Anyone else wishing to make a comment?
No one's.
No one's coming up? Okay. All right, then I'll go ahead and move to our Zoom. Is that Marisol? Joanna, do we have anyone via Zoom?
We do. We have Henry and April.
Henry and April, okay. Could you please go ahead and unmute them?
How you doing?
Good.
It's Henry Martinez Jr., 116 10th Street. I have been quiet these past couple of weeks. I have just been building my case. As some of you already know, that multiple videos from different people have been released to the public. And oh boy, do they depict a lot of issues. First off, Officer Panetta has no control over his anger, his actions, or anything that he does. His first response is to reach for his gun, the firearm, on his right side. Then notices that he got the wrong gun, then switches for the taser and continues to point it at kids. We got that video clear as day. Also, Officer Panetta continues to have no self-control with his language, yelling at kids to get the F back the F up, and whatnot. These are the officers that we stand by, that we want them to be, on the streets, especially with minors. If you don't believe me, check out Gonzales Real News and you can see all the videos that the court has been releasing, and there are more to come. Oh man, the day is coming. Also, Gonzales PD knows that the old side of Gonzales has P.O. boxes, not home address. It has been proven that Gonzales PD put home addresses for the warrants to go by, and there have been 7 cases of this. Either this is through the chief or through anybody else.
Thank you. Does April want to say anything?
No.
You're good?
You're good.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else? Joanna?
No one else on Zoom.
Okay, thank you. Mary, any comments via email? Thank you, Mary. Okay, then I'll go ahead and close the public comment period and bring it for council action on the consent agenda. I have items 4 through 12. Anyone wishing to pull an item may do so at this time. I do need to know before we move forward. Nobody? Okay, then do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All righty, moving on to item 13, which is the Gonzales Youth Council. Who's reporting out today?
Orlando.
Orlando. Fantastic.
Myself. Well, I'll start off with GYC Oral Communications. On March 28th, Gonzales Youth Council hosted their community action project surrounding food security and community garden. This community garden highlighted the importance of food security and environmental challenges all around the nation, along with EBT and food benefits during being cut financially. This event had a great turnout with many visitors and students attending. We cleaned our garden beds, the facilities within the area, hosted other organizations to mop out their own, and introduced our newly established and painted food pantry. We thank everyone for attending this event, as this took precise and careful coordination and diligence. Throughout the months of March, April, and May, not yet, but anyways, the Gonzales Youth Council has been attending meetings regarding the entire planning process of the upcoming event, the South County Youth Summit. Through different committees, we discuss essential information surrounding materials, the lookout, promotion, and additional factors. Whether that was meeting via virtually or in person, our Gonzales Youth Council has been in accordance with the Soledad and Greenfield Youth Council to properly ensure this summit is as efficient as possible. On April 16, the Gonzales Youth Council had met to seemingly discuss different action items that needed to be taken regarding the South County Youth Summit. This meeting seemingly covered promotion, presentations, and additional research that surrounded this event, along with some of the other projects we plan on pursuing. Additionally, on the same day, some of our Gonzales Youth Council members were able to speak and conduct an introduction to the Coastal Commission. This introduction symbolized the importance of the youth who made a pivotal impact to the city of Gonzales. We were additionally recognized by Commissioner Ray Jackson, being conducted for our efficient advocacy and construction of the community center. To completely summarize, the Gonzales Youth Council has been working diligently to successfully complete our action projects to continue leading and advocating for the youth through many meetings, promoting events, and hosting projects. These first months of 2026 have been very occupying, but we still continue to thrive. And then on April 30th, the Gonzales Youth Council will be hosting an additional meeting, just making final touches and updates regarding the South County Youth Summit. And then on May 2nd, the most important day for us that's when our South County Youth Summit is going to be hosted from, I want to say 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. I coordinately invite you all if you wish to attend. It's going to be here in the community center. Yeah, hope to see you there. Then as for Gonzales High School updates, there is so many that have happened. I cannot list them all, but a lot has been going on with our school, from sports, athletics, different career technical education pathways, programs, and such more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And again, the youth summit is just one Saturday?
Yes.
Okay, and again, the
Yes.
date again was
May 2nd.
May 2nd.
Yeah,
Okay.
May 2nd from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
See if I can pop in there. Thank you so much, Orlando. Moving on, committee reports. First one is League of Cities. I have nothing to report. And that.
Nothing to report this month. We were dark.
Great. MST.
Mine's very short. Just the one thing I wanted to bring up again, which I know Maria is very well aware of, and I think all of us are on this dais, is the speedy recovery from our MST bus drivers and supervisors who assisted with the senior group in Monterey. We identified all of them on our last meeting, and it was just nice to see the camaraderie and how they all work together so well. And this is an issue that's ongoing. I mean, there are still people looking for places to live. But I think it's just nice to know that we have people that take care of each other in our county. We had an update on our SURF project. Everything is moving along very well. And that's pretty much it. Our next meeting, it was a pretty quick meeting, which is surprising for MST. Usually they run somewhere between 2 and 2.5 hours. This one was over in an hour, which is unusual for us. So the next meeting will be held on May 11th. And that's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And since your voices were already warmed up, would you like to do oral communications?
Okay. Yeah, I have a couple of things. Well, the first one is I wanted to bring this to the attention of our police chief. On the way here, there was a young man on an electric scooter who did not have a helmet on. And he was going rather speedily down the road. And I was really concerned about that because I had just read an article about a young man who fell into a ravine in Michigan. He was on an electric scooter, fell into a ravine. It took them 3 days to find him, but they actually found him. He had real bad damage, so they had to put him in an induced coma. He didn't come out of the coma for 11 days, and he's still working through the brain injury. But the biggest thing that he said was, I should have been wearing a helmet. So I ask our youth commissioners, our young people out there, I know it doesn't seem cool at the time to wear a helmet when you're riding a bike or all of that. My sons are both having new babies, and they said they saw some kids the other day wearing helmets in their communities, and they looked very irritated that they were wearing these helmets. And they said, Mom, I remember you and Dad telling us that we needed to wear helmets, and you were on us all the time. And guess what? My kids are wearing helmets. So I know it doesn't seem cool at the moment when you're a kid. And it's one in how many could get injured, but it's super important. Kids need to wear helmets in our community because we want to keep them safe. So if you see an adult, and I pulled him over, I didn't pull him over, but I said, you need to be wearing a helmet. Like that. So whether or not he looked at me with contempt, I don't know, but he was respectful. He didn't say anything. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say is thank you to Chris Lopez for bringing the Coastal Commission here last week. Council member Silva Pro Tem and our mayor and myself were able to attend for a little bit. And I know a lot of our city employees were there too, Tavin and Octavio. It was just really impressive to be there and to just kind of listen. These are people that represent the state of California. So it's not just our little area. So to listen to like what goes on in San Diego and what goes on in San Francisco, I mean, it was just interesting. So I wanted to shout out to our supervisor, Chris Lopez, for bringing them here, because I know that a lot of them were impressed with the fact that we were coming to a small community here in Gonzales in the Salinas Valley. So hats off to him. And lastly, I want to shout out to our new public works director. I had an issue last week with our new EV charging stations. I gave him a call and he was on it immediately. And thank you for that. Very well appreciated. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Liz, moving down the line.
Okay, so I too want to continue to encourage all people who use the e-toys, be it the scooters, the bikes, follow the rules of the road. I've mentioned this a couple of times at other meetings. I hope at some point we can maybe even encourage the youth council to have like a safety summit, if you would, to encourage all young people, especially helmets are just so necessary. And don't go speeding down the sidewalks, especially in front of the post office, because you might knock older citizens like myself, or one came whizzing by, and luckily his mother was real close. So she understood, but she says, he won't listen to me. Well, you know, if he won't listen, I just say, take the toy away for a while, then they start to listen. But that's just me. I also want to thank Chris for bringing the California Coastal Commission to our humble little city. I think most of the people that were there were very impressed. They were very impressed with the community center. Just our small town was very welcoming to them. I think they were shocked. And although they are the Coastal Commission, whatever we do here affects the coast. They also encouraged people who have never seen the ocean, go to the ocean. Our beaches up and down the state are all public access, or most of them, maybe a small percentage are not. But they showed us examples that would make you laugh, because people who live along the coast, especially in Southern California, were encroaching on the beach. They were creating their yards that went all the way out to the water, and it was hilarious. And there was another example of a hotel in Santa Monica that had been torn down so that they could build an affordable hotel. Well, they put a boutique hotel. They were fined $15 million for doing something wrong. And my question was, as it was being built, didn't the building inspector know when to say stop? But they let them build this boutique hotel, ended up costing the builders $15 million in fines back to the Coastal Commission, which I, again, thought was kind of weird. They have a lot of things on their agenda. They spent 3 days here going over a multitude of subjects. And just for all of you, the seals will be pupping in about 30 days. So please stay at least 20 feet away from them. If you go to the ocean and you see the seals and they're having their pups, stay clearly away. They are protected, or you just have to pay a lot in fines. Salinas Valley Fair kickoff was this past Saturday in King City. Again, it was a full house, very well attended. I'm guessing that they raised probably in the neighborhood of about $200,000 just in their live and silent auction that night. It was an amazing event. It always is. It's a sold out event leading up to the fair that will be May 14th to the 17th. I hope you all have a chance to go down and enjoy it and support our exhibitors, especially those from our local 4-H and FFA chapters. I think, Orlando, are you an FFA?
Yes.
But you don't have an animal, but you're still part of that FFA group. So a lot of our youth are involved. Is Izzy still in 4-H? So the young lady that we honored at the beginning of our meeting is still part of our 4-H club. So there's a lot to be thankful for in this valley, and these kids, that's when they come and show all their goods. Finally, on Monday, May 25th, at the cemetery will be the annual Memorial Day ceremony. It begins at 9 a.m. We read all the names of all the veterans from Gonzales. We read those. I'll be the reader this year. I think I'm going to be a solo act this year, but come out and just recognize those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Funk.
Nothing additional this evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Orozco?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Lorraine, for your comments regarding the assistance that MST provided for our families on behalf of the Housing Authority. Thank you, and thank MST for their service. We're still trying to place some of the folks, but hopefully we'll be able to find them some permanent residences soon. I wanted to invite everybody on Sunday. We're celebrating the annual Children's Festival in the park. Free activities for the kids in the park. It's to celebrate the children of our community. Dia del Niño is celebrated throughout the world. On the last Sunday of every month, we'll have agencies who will also be in attendance, providing information for families and children, raffles throughout the day. It's a fun event for families from 1 to 5. And then the following Sunday, May 3rd, our sister city organization will be celebrating the annual Cinco de Mayo festival again in the park with the parade and a lot of good food in the park and activities. So again, that event is from noon to 6. And just want to invite the community to come and to participate. I also had a chance to attend the Coastal Commission meeting, the last meeting that they had on Friday, and it was really interesting to hear the different permits that they have to deal with and also the process that they have for public comments. It's very organized.
Yes, it is.
So just wanted to mention that. Also Rotary, July, 4th of July is just really right around the corner. So we are already discussing plans for our 4th of July events. On the 28th, Gonzales Rotary will be hosting Valley Nights in our city and it's rotated every 4 years. We get to host. Next year, I think it'll be King City, but a lot of great things happening. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got a few items. I'm gonna start with checking with the signage on Fifth Street. Has that been completed?
Actually, Director Hurtado is going to provide a brief update on that. So if you,
Have you?
yes,
Okay.
so,
Then I'll wait for his update.
yeah.
Then there's a little problem that I've been noticing, and I've got several people commenting about we've added the ADUs, and in some cases there's additional parking, and in some cases there isn't. So in the cases where there's additional parking, people have the space to create an additional parking area on their properties, which works out really well. The only thing that we haven't been able to create the space for, because of the number of vehicles already out there, is trash cans. I've seen them blocking alleys because, there's ADUs running down the alley, and so everybody brings it either to one side or the other. I'm not sure, maybe this is a question for the Salinas Valley Recycles. They don't pick up trash in the alleyways, right?
That would be Tri-Cities.
Tri-Cities.
And no, they don't. It would have to be street side.
Yeah, and see, that's, like I said, it's parking's already tight enough, and then they're literally blocking the driveways to the alleys, because where else do you put them?
Well, let's work on a solution.
Yeah.
We can work on a solution.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you if we could talk to Tri-Cities or something and see if there's a solution. And if not, is there a way that we could do it? Maybe spread out the trash pickup days? I don't know. Just some ideas out there.
Okay.
Last comment, number of comments that I have is, most of the time it's a shoelace express, and so I get around town by walking. There's a couple of places that I'm not sure what we can do about, but I'd like to see if we can take a look at it. On Belden Street, I'm trying to remember, I don't know the number of the house. I do know that it's like the second block from you come down from the church. So just as you pass the alley, there's a couple of houses there, and they're literally holes in the sidewalk. Fortunately, I haven't tripped yet, but time is coming and I will be tripping.
That's the 100 block of Belden.
Is it the 100 block? Yeah, so, on those sidewalks, yeah. And I don't know if it was the type of pour they made in that particular area. Because usually the older homes, they have better cement than what's out there now.
I think
So-
that's original I think that's Rusty Gonzalez's house.
I think it's
And then
in
the
front of
old
Rusty's and in the
The
next
old
house.
tennis house. I
Yeah.
don't know who lives there now, but it's the old concrete from probably the 40s.
Yeah, but like I said, I've got 40-year-old concrete on my sidewalk, and it's
Yeah, but
concrete.
the 40s are older than that.
Yeah. Well, you're right, those are probably older than that,
Yeah.
so. If there's a solution, maybe you could tell us. And then today, my siblings and I went to lunch at Luigi's, and then we came down 4th Street. Boy, that's a real kick in the kidneys. I mean, and they have trucks, and I'm thinking, why is it this route? I didn't realize I'd gotten that route, because I said, most of the time, if I go down 4th Street, I'm either going to the pharmacy or the bank, and sidewalks are smooth. But when you get down in the actual roadway, it's like, wow. And I don't know what the difference is, that street versus the second part of 4th Street, because here in front of the council chambers, that they put just better asphalt here, and because I don't see semi-trucks parking on Fourth Street unless I'm mistaken. Because again, I don't see, so.
No.
So we're gonna provide a short update on that as well. That's
Okay.
kind of all part of Octavio's closing comments, just updates on the status on the Fourth Street project as well, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And again, big thanks, a big thank you to Mr. Lopez. He is a silver-tongued devil for sure. How he convinced all those commissioners to plan a meeting here. Like I told, kudos to you, Chris. You're obviously a very good salesman. I'm hoping that, and I did say it, I'm hoping that they make this an annual tradition to come down and, meet in the valley, because they need to get an earful from the valley as well. Lastly, I did get a letter certified in the mail, and I'd like Mayor Pro Tem Liz Silva to read this. I think it's important enough that everybody hears it. I got it, but I think everybody should hear this.
Dated April 12th, 2026. Mayor Jose Rios. My name is Danitza Madrigal, and I am a resident of the community. I am writing to bring attention to a safety concern in my community neighborhood that I believe requires prompt attention. Near my home, there is a red zone located near a stop sign where vehicles frequently park. One of the main issues is there are tall palm trees located near the red zone that partially block visibility. When drivers, such as myself, approach the stop sign and attempt to look to the right before proceeding, their view is obstructed by both parked cars and palm trees. This makes it hard to see oncoming drivers and increases the risk of accidents. Residents in the area, including myself, have experienced moments where it is unsafe to move forward because visibility was limited. I respectfully request the city to consider taking steps to make it more visible and improve safety in this location. Possible solutions could include increased enforcements of the no parking red zone, repainting the red curb for more visibility, or removing the trees to improve visibility for drivers. Thank you for your time and your continued service to the community. Sincerely, Danitza Madrigal, resident of Gonzales, California.
Yeah.
Yeah,
can you
it's on the
repeat?
envelope.
Okay.
She lives on Riesling Place.
So if we could please have a follow-up and maybe repaint that curb. And I know that the officers are busy, but if they see someone parked in that red zone, that's an easy ticket and there's no way they're gonna fight that one. So if we could kind of be a little more diligent about it, I sincerely would appreciate it. So would this resident. And as far as the palm trees, if they're on private property, they're on private property, and I doubt there's very much that we as a council can do. I know that as I walk again, Shoelace Express, there are a lot of places in this community that have an overgrowth of bushes onto the sidewalk. And so in trying to scoot around them, I've twisted a couple ankles, but I keep saying I'm gonna stop and knock on the door and say, hey, can you trim that back so I can at least see the sidewalk? And I need to do that for myself before I end up twisting or breaking an ankle. But those are all my comments. Thank you. We'll move on to city manager's report.
Just a few little things to put on your radar. There are going to be changes to the chair yoga schedule coming. They're cutting back to 2 times a month. Dates are still to be determined, so be on the lookout for those. I did want to mention, we are having issues with the electric scooters and bicycles, and we are going to be putting a notice in the utility bills as well. Just reminders of helmets, but also just to, abide by safety and laws because they are, as the weather is getting hotter, they're out everywhere and very few are abiding by the rules. And so it is a danger to themselves and to really everyone around them. So we do encourage parents in the community to remind folks who are utilizing electric scooters and bikes. And it's not just kids. I see plenty of adults on them as well. So, to enjoy those safely because they're going to hurt themselves or somebody else. So we are just mentioning we are putting some of those notices in the utility bills, and we'll be putting out just safety messages out there. But that was already in the works. Also want to thank staff for taking care of everything for the Coastal Commission while I was out. Got really good feedback from folks who attended and from Supervisor Lopez. I was getting text messages while I was out on vacation of how proud he was of the youth commissioners for getting up there and speaking in front of the commission as well. So kudos to all staff that stepped in while I was out to make sure everything went smooth, and to Supervisor Lopez for helping bring that meeting here locally. It was definitely something to be proud of, I think, for our community. Just a reminder, you guys heard this enough, but May 2nd, the Youth Summit's going to be here as well. So I'd like to invite you guys to attend. And we are also going to be, well, the Community Center is also receiving another award through the Construction Management Association of Northern California. The project has received the Project Achievement Award and will be dedicated to it on May 14th in Danville, California. If anybody's interested in attending, I can share more information. That will be an evening gala where this award will be presented. So very exciting. Harrison Associates applied for the award, and because of everything in the application and all the groundwork to make the center a reality, it got the project award of the year. So it's very exciting. I think that's all for now. Now Director Hurtado had a few comments on some of the questions that were brought up this evening. So Octavio, you want to give us some updates on some of those?
Sure, yes, thank you. Mayor, members of the council, it's been busy these last few months. You guys don't disappoint. So I'll start off with the wastewater treatment plant. We have a very large new pond that's about to be, it's complete now. They're putting the finishing touches on it. And we will be taking on the water that went to the new industrial plant. We will be bringing it back to our plant for to basically get it perking into the ground so that they can continue with their construction and not affect their schedule any more than we have to. So it seems like we got the plant under control. And if we are able to take the water back, that's saying a lot there. So we're doing a citywide weed abatement program where we're going to be going through all the city property and right of way and making sure we comply with weed abatement and reduce any kind of fire hazards. It was brought to our attention, what are we doing with the slough? And that was a question in my mind, since it's so large, what are we going to do with the slough, or what do we do with the slough? And so we will be making an effort to get the perimeters of the slough taken care of, but then we have to look at different options. Councilmember Worthy mentioned goats, and maybe that's an option that we could look at. I've seen goats in my neighborhood, so they work. So regarding the Fifth Street band project, we've made, I think we've made headways on that. We submitted, we got comments again. The last comment was they don't want a sign that says Gonzales Industrial Park on highway right of way. So we're changing that one to truck route. And then once we get on basically the county or the city, then it will say the Gonzales Industrial Park. Those plans should be going back tomorrow and hopefully for approval to get an encroachment permit so that we can get that project moving. Regarding, there is a RSTP grant opportunity through TAMC that I will be submitting a grant application for a variety of projects. The first is to join the 4th Street resurfacing project and tie it into the participatory grant that we received for efforts to be done on Rincon and 5th Street. So we're going to tie those two projects together and make it a complete streets project to make sure we got good bike paths and make a connection between 5th Street and downtown. We're also going to submit a grant to remove the island on, just north of Gonzales River Road and 1st Street in front of the car lot. Because that island is actually a gap in the bike path. So there's bike paths along Alta, but that's a gap. And so there's a light right in the middle of it. So we'll relocate the light, remove that median, and then kind of redo the corner. So I'll submit a grant for that. And also, in coordinating with the county, we're gonna submit to put a bike lane on Alta Street from our city limits line over at the north end on 10th over to Fano Road, so that we can have a connection there's a labor camp there, so that there's bike lanes that come in to town. Porter Road, sorry, yeah, Porter Road, yeah. And so I know that the TAMC put their wayfinding bike signs up recently, and so that'll be a good coordinated effort with them. And then the last thing I heard that I want to mention is we're working on the red curb for the daylighting law. So we've been working on establishing what the parameters are at each of the subdivisions, because they're different if there's a crosswalk, or if there's just a stop bar, or if there's ball belts, and it's different length requirements. So we've established the differences that are at each subdivision, and now we're going to start going out there and marking the red curbs, so that both Public Works can start working on them, and if there's volunteer opportunities or people interested in volunteering, we'll give them the limits, and then they can do the work. We'll provide the paint. We're ordering the paint. I believe we're checking inventory and ordering paint, so that we hope to start this project by the end of this month, beginning of next. So that's what I have for you.
Thank you.
And just to add, we have also submitted an earmark request to Zoe Lofgren's office and Laird's for funds for the wastewater treatment plant. 2 different requests totaling about $6 million, and we feel pretty good about one from Zoe Lofgren's office that staff has come out and visited, and Washington DC has been in touch asking more questions. So keep your fingers crossed. All that money could really help us maintain our municipal plant, which is really what we're going to need into the long future. So hopefully it gets some funding.
Well, before we go into closed sessions, I'd like to ask you for a moment of silence for another Gonzales resident that recently passed. His services were actually on the 7th. I wasn't out here to attend, but he was a centurion, and in the positive way of being a centurion. I always imagine centurions with the feathers across the head, you know. He was a centurion. He'd lived here a better part of 50 or 60 years, I believe. But he'd been an employee for Franchoni Brothers, another local company, for over 40 years as a tractor driver. So he passed peacefully at 100 years old. He was 1 month away from completing 101. Manuel Garcia, a resident over on A Street. So if you could please join me for just a moment of silence. Thank you so much. May he rest in peace. Okay, then we'll go ahead and move on to closed session. And Mr. Rodriguez, would you be so kind as to read those 2 items and allow the public, if they wish to make comments, to do so?
We have 2 claims. We have 2 items for closed session. The first is a claim of Roman Valdez Jr. pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9. And the second item that we have is conferring with the legal counsel pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 regarding a matter of ongoing litigation, and that's Duran versus City of Gonzales. And so it would be appropriate to take any public comments.
Okay. If there's anyone from the public wishing to make a comment on these 2 closed session items, you may do so at this time. And again, you're limited to 2 minutes.
There's no one here.
There's no one here? Okay. Joanna, do we have anybody via Zoom?
No comment via Zoom.
Thank you. Mary, do we have any comments via email?
Comments via email.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and close the session, open session. We'll move on to closed session. So if we please clear the room. Thank you.